Hi, this is Amy from Be Well Clinic, and I want to answer a question that maybe a lot of you have had. That question is, why am I not getting better faster? So you are doing all this hard work. You are doing the GAPS diet, you're taking a supplement program, you're eating organ meats every day and ferments and way more things than you've ever done in your life. And you're really confused. You've been doing it for months, maybe even years, and you're confused. Why have I not recovered all the way? Why am I not all the way better? Here are some metaphors that maybe are going to be helpful for explaining why that might be true for you. Again, you have an individual journey. I can't tell you what that exactly is, but maybe this will make sense. The example that I want to tell you is about when I had a car that had a head gasket change done, and they did it poorly. So my head gaskets were leaking oil, and eventually it was about a quart a week. That quart a week I tried to keep up with. I was in college, I couldn't afford to do the car work, so I thought, and I just kept putting oil into that car. Eventually I did not keep up, right? Many times it would run a little bit dry, and one time it was just too much, and my engine seized and that engine was done. I had to get a new car with a new engine because I could not fix that one without replacing the engine all the way, just because of an oil leak. That idea of what was that happening in your body all the time that you were a little sick before you started getting really sick. Now, not everyone who is doing healing things got all the way to where I did, where your engine seized up all the way. Maybe you just finally said, I should just get this oil leak fixed. It's still going to cost a lot more energy, right? More time, more money, more input to get that oil change fixed because it got leaky in the first place. That leakiness happens usually without our fault, right? It is not your fault that your health is where it is. You did the best you could with the choices you were doing, what foods you thought were good, what information and education you were given or your mom had when she raised you, right? Everyone's doing the best they can, and sometimes things get broken. We ate the wrong foods, we did too many toxins, things got out of balance, and we had damage. When that damage is slowly leaking, it's going to cost you a little bit all the time, but you may be able to keep up with that, at least for a while, just like I did with my oil. You can keep putting input in, you can get a little bit more sleep when it's the weekends. You can eat good food when you go home, but eat junk food when you're at college. Those things are going to help your input and keep your car engine from seizing, at least for a while. Now, that while could be years and years and years. But if it's not fixed, you still have a problem. When you are putting in that oil, even if the oil worked, in my situation, if I had kept up with it, even if the oil worked, I still was pouring a lot of money in, just in small increments. But there were things that were getting broken. Obviously, there was a roughness. The car would be a little low in oil and it would just not work. I could feel when it was running rough, and that's when I knew to put oil in it. That's probably not a great plan, but we do that with our health all the time, right? We're feeling a little rough. We've been getting sick a little more recently. We start getting headaches, so then we put a little more input in. We take care of ourselves more. We do some self-care days, or we take a nap, or we go to bed early for a couple weeks. And that is kind of this management. If you were doing that for a long time, but there was still some background damage happening, now that you are healing, you're working on all that damage. Let's say I had taken that engine and fixed it. How many things were broken? It probably was not just one thing, right? Oil is pretty pervasive. It helps everything work well. So if I was going to go in and fix that engine, there was probably be a lot and a lot of energy to fix. In our lives, we don't get to replace the engine or the car, right? We have our bodies, we have what's been done with them, and we have to fix it or deal with it broken, potentially very broken. Hopefully not a lot of you have come to the place where you're very broken, but even if you aren't, or if you are, think of how many things need to be fixed. So that's what you're doing with healing foods. That's what you're doing with nutrient-dense foods, whole food supplements, liver, organ meats, fermented foods, all of that, because those things are coming in and repairing. The problem is you still have to drive your car every day. So not only are you repairing things and you're working in your garage shop all night, you still have to get your car to a place where you can function through the day again. That takes energy, that takes gas, that takes oil itself. And so while you're healing, you're also still living. And this is why for a lot of people, it takes a really long time to heal. In the olden days, for people who could afford it, what would they do when they were sick? They'd go convalesce for months, maybe 6 months, maybe a year in a tropical or very mild climate environment. So their body had very little work to do and only had to work on healing. We would probably get better a lot faster if we did that. Most of us do not have the luxury to stop our lives while we're healing. If you do, that may be a good thing to consider. It's still going to take a long time, but it's definitely going to go faster the more energy you put into it, as opposed to spreading the energy out through the day if you're having to also do life. This goes into the idea of catabolic and anabolic balance, which you can find more about that. I talk a little bit about that in different places, but catabolic and anabolic balance are going to be about, are you building up your body faster than it's getting torn down and broken down? And those are going to give you a balance. In your catabolic and anabolic balance, in your healing journey, as you are living your life and healing at the same time, that all has to happen at once. And so for some people, that damage was very little, especially if they started doing things sooner or if their body crashed harder, faster. Some people actually do that, and that can be beneficial. But if you had a long drain on your body, a long amount of small damage, there's going to just take a long time to deal with that. And the deeper those nutritional deficiencies, the toxicity levels, all of that, the longer it's going to be. So I hope that's helpful for you to just see yourself in that metaphor, to see like, that makes sense. My healing journey is making sense. Or maybe it's not. In that case, it may be time to shift something. There may be something to add or subtract or rest, either in terms of your food or your life. You may need to slow down or move more or eat differently. And so if that doesn't make sense, if you feel like you should be in a different place still after hearing this metaphor, go ahead and talk to someone about it. Make an appointment with a practitioner, with one of our practitioners, and find out what you might be doing to help your car repair go better so that you can help your body heal. We'll see you next time as you come back for another tip about how to help your body heal better and be more well.